Hey everybody, it's Gypsy, and today's video is coming to you from my booth in Quartzsite, Arizona. I think, I give you a little tour. I'm going to insert that right here. Okay everybody, this is my booth from the outside. Just giving you a little tour. There's my sign. I don't know if you can see it very well. These are my friend's scarves. We're selling those. We thought it looked good on my booth. Those are her sales though. And then I have, let's see, my art here. That's done on ironwood, very heavy. And these are medallions that you can hang up, hung with leather. I painted in oak. There'll be more of those coming. I've started spell bags, and there'll be more of these coming. I have my hand-painted greeting cards. There's my little signs. I have my berets, and I have my painting on a log called Ocean Wave. And then there's my little workspace. And back here is where I do readings. Got everything set up. So I just wanted to give you guys a little tour. Anyways, first some announcements as usual. Gypsy Witch Creations should be up and running now, but there's not much on it. I'm still working on it. Having a booth where I sell things, a little actual physical shop, it's taking up a lot of my time, which is why I'm doing the video here. There's going to be background noise and such because it is an outdoor arena, an outdoor vendor thing. If you are looking for me in Quartzsite, Arizona, I am at 960 West Main Street, Quartzsite, Arizona. I'm in the lot where Ken's Groceries and K&B Tools are, and I'm right across from Ken's Groceries. And I'm here most days except Wednesdays for right now. Probably come busy season, it might be every day. Usually get here between 9 and 10, and I'm here until 4:30, 5 o'clock, just before dark. It's an all-terrain vehicle, that's what I'm talking about, the noise. But anyways, GypsyWitchCreations.com should be up and running. There's going to be a blog now. I will have a list of my items, but it's not an e-commerce site. So you will have to contact me, usually with an email, if you wish to purchase something. The reason for this is when I was using an e-commerce site, one, with what's going on with the economy right now, I couldn't afford it anymore. Two, I was doing a lot of the printing, drop ship company printing, which looks great, but I couldn't set my own prices, and I just felt they were a little high. And then when this shit hit the fan in the world, and now the economy's like this, I just felt, well, nobody can afford it. So I had to think of something else. I'm finding to sell in person more than on the internet, but that is still available. You're just going to have to contact me via email. I may even put my phone number on there. I don't know yet. Let's see. Patreon. I need patrons to get to the fun stuff, where we will have question and answer night, where the spirit realm answers your questions. We'll do that once a week. We're going to have a drawing once a month for a free personal reading. If you're not in my area, it will be on Zoom. It will be private, just you and I and your people from the spirit realm. Let's see merchandise, free merchandise. There will be a drawing once a month or I don't know yet. Probably once a month, twice a month, I think. I'm going to change that. For free merchandise from Gypsy Witch Creations. And I had a few other things listed in my tier on Patreon. But I can't really do these things without a fairly large group of people. I want more interaction, so I need you guys to go and sign up. It is $5 a month. If that is not reasonable to you, please contact me and let me know. You can contact me at gypsywitchcreations@yahoo.com, or you can post in the comments here on the video and let me know, because I really do need feedback. And if it's too much, let's be honest, tough times, people. Tough times. I don't know. We'll see. Or maybe I'll start doing various tiers. I only have one right now. So let me know what that... Oh, I am sorry. I forgot to turn that off again. Right. Oh, and like this, I really can't tell if the camera freezes and the spirits get too close to the camera. Anyways, I had mentioned previously that my lifelong best friend, sent me this lovely book called Braiding Sweetgrass. And it is by Wall Kimmerer. And she's Native American. She's a citizen of the Potawatomi tribe. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. But this book is so beautiful. I love it so much. And my best friend knew I would. That's why she signed it. So much of how I feel, my philosophies, are in this book. I have been drawn to the Native American culture, I don't know, for the past 4 or 5 years, something like that. Should I tell how that started? Yeah, we think so. So anyways, how that started, I lived back in Ohio, in a semi-rural area. I lived on a 3-acre farm. And a lot of times, especially if I was smudging or something, I would look out and I would see a Native American man walking around the property. And then he would just disappear into thin air. He was a spirit. And I was told he lived in that area, on that property. Not that they had actual property lines and stuff, but yeah, it was more... They don't really believe in owning land, neither do I. But anyways, he loved that area, and he comes back to visit a lot. And I would see him there, and it got me very interested in Native American culture. And I found out, one, I'm very drawn to it because I like that life. I love that lifestyle. And two, I was finding my spiritual inclination led more to paganism, witchcraft. And I'm a green witch because I'm very into nature. It seems much in line with Native American ways of thinking. And reading this book, it shows me I'm right when she talks about this stuff. So I think we're just going to go. The preface is very, very beautiful too, but I'm not going to do the preface. I'm just going straight for the first chapter. We're just going to go over it really quickly. And if you have this book, read along. And if you, Spirit got too close to the camera again. I saw that one. You might want to get this book after hearing what I have to say. We're going to do it chapter by chapter, or maybe a couple chapters at a time, because it is a fairly long book. And to do a whole, one video of a book review just wouldn't do it justice. I mean, it's such a beautiful book. So anyways, I gave you that background knowledge. She explains in the first chapter the Native American creation story, which I think is very beautiful. I grew up Christian, so my story of creation was Adam and Eve, which is rather depressing. Okay, I'm sorry I have to go there, but it is. And girl, you get kicked out of a garden, and I think we did a video on well, it's kind of true. There really wasn't a Garden of Eden per se. What happened was, we stopped treating life as a gift, and using to surviving on what our Creator provided on this planet for us to survive. We started taking advantage of it. You look around, all the other creatures on this planet live off the land. They have everything they need, unless we steal it from them. People were the same way. There was nothing different about us. But we chose, we're so intelligent, we're stupid, we chose to make life, not a gift. Gift implies free. Well, a gift means, when somebody gives you a gift, it means it's free. But let's face it, life is not a gift. We have to work hard and work hard for it. And yes, even if we didn't use a monetary system or beholden to the powers that be, we would still have to work some up. We'd be living off land, harvesting, hunting, whatever. Roofs over our heads, stuff like that. Normal stuff. Not going to work for somebody else, leaving our kids for someone else while we go do that. Anyways, let me get on with this. This creation story is beautiful. It talks about a sky world, which is the spirit realm. They call it the sky world in her tribe, or the Native Americans do. It says she fell like a maple seed from sky world, and she was holding something in her hand as she fell. Her name is Skywoman And as she fell, let's see, the geese saw her coming, and they went up to catch her and bring her down gently. But which all she saw was dark water. There was no land. So they gently carried her down. Now, the geese knew they couldn't hold her up forever to keep her from drowning. So they held a council with the other water creatures to figure out what to do for her. I hope you guys can hear me over the noise. But anyways, so they all gathered together. And a great turtle, a big turtle, floated among their midst and offered his back for the woman to float on, Skywoman to float on. And let's see, they all knew she needed land, earth, for her to live on so she wouldn't drown. But there was no earth yet. But what they did know was at the bottom of the waters was mud, which they realized if it dried and stuff, it would become earth. So they all chose to take turns going down to try and get some mud to create an earth, land for her to live on. So one by one, they went down. First the otter, the beaver, the sturgeon. But the depths and darkness and the pressures were too great, and they came back empty-handed, back up empty-handed. The last one to go was the muskrat, which is the weakest diver of all, they say. So the muskrat goes down. It's down there for a long time. All the other creatures are worried about him. And he comes up, limp body. He's dead, but he has it clutched in his paw or his claw or whatever, is a bunch of mud. And so he had given his life to aid a helpless human. So the turtle decides, put the mud on my back. So they do that, and he says, I'll hold it there. Now, Skywoman bends, and she spreads the mud over the turtle's shell, all over. And then, in Thanksgiving, she gets up on the mud on the turtle's back and dances a dance of Thanksgiving. As she does this, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, until the whole earth was made. Not by Skywoman alone, but from the alchemy of all the animals' gifts, coupled with her deep gratitude. That is so cool. And it gets more into this. This is how I feel about gratitude and stuff like this. But she's going to get into it throughout the book. So when she toppled from the sky, the hole in the sky, she had reached out and grabbed the tree of life, which is what she was holding in her hands. It was fruits and seeds, okay? And so she scattered it onto the new ground and carefully tended each one until the world turned from brown to green. And wild grasses, flowers, trees, and medicines spread everywhere. And now that the animals, too, had plenty to eat, many of them came to live on the land with her instead of in the water. I just love this creation story. It's so beautiful. So she says, what's her name? Robin says, our stories say that all the plants, she has it written in Native in her tribe, and I don't know how to pronounce it, unfortunately. Of all the plants, sweetgrass was the very first to grow on the earth, and it is honored as one of the 4 sacred plants of her people. She says when you breathe in its scent, you start to remember things you didn't realize you had forgotten. So she's talking about spiritual memory here. And then she goes into braiding the hair of someone you love is an act of kindness, and something more flows between the braider and the braidee. You know, not the Brady Bunch. Yeah. So she says, they consider sweetgrass the flowing long hair of Mother Earth. And when we braid sweetgrass, we are braiding the hair of Mother Earth. I just think that's so beautiful and shows such appreciation for Gaia, our planet. I look at it as our planet as more of a goddess, a mother goddess. Yeah. She says, children hearing the Skywoman story from birth know in their bones the responsibility that flows between humans and the earth. I mean, wouldn't it be beautiful if every culture on this planet children this from a very young age, what a different our planet would be healthier, our cultures, our society would be much more beautiful and much more healthy than it is. It is such a beautiful thought. It really is. And I think her writing this book is spreading this message, and I really believe this will help. It will pass around. Anyways, let's see. Now, she is also, the author, Robin, is also a scientist. She's a botanist. And what else? Yeah, but she's also a professor at a college. And she, one day, told her students the story of Skywoman. And how Skywoman's gardens, how she tends her gardens, and when she said gardens, or as some call global ecosystems. Anyways, she asked them to rate their understanding of the negative interactions between humans and their environment. Nearly every one of the 200 students said confidently that humans and nature do not mix. Well, if you think about that, that doesn't make sense, and it should not. We are not separate from nature. We're part of nature. For that to be the first response is pretty sad. Anyways, then she asked to rate their knowledge of positive interactions between people and the land. The median response was none, and that's also sad. She says she was stunned that they cannot think of a beneficial relationship between people and the environment. And of course, many of them live, in urban areas or near factory farms and brown fields and stuff like that. So that's all they know. She says, as the land becomes impoverished, so too does the scope of their vision. I really agree with that, and I think it would be beneficial for our society. Well, even if you choose to live in the city, which there's nothing wrong with that. Some people prefer it, but to get out in nature more. And maybe go and see how others live, maybe natives or farmers or stuff, their relationship with the land and nature, so that you don't have this narrow vision. So she's asking, how can we begin to move toward ecological and cultural sustainability if we cannot even imagine what the path feels like? Humans getting along with nature, being part of nature. So she says, on one side of the world, people their living relationship with the earth is shaped by the story of Skywoman, create a garden of well-being for all, not just for humans, not just for their family, not just for their tribe, but every animal and plant everywhere, which is really nice. And then she says you have on the other side was another woman with a garden and a tree. That mother of men was made to wander in the wilderness and earn her bread by the sweat of her brow, and that was just for eating a piece of fruit. Right. Not by filling her mouth with the sweet, juicy fruits that bend the branches below. In order to eat, she was instructed to subdue the wilderness into which she was cast. I don't think the wilderness was ever meant to be subdued so that we can eat. I truly believe this. When our Creator created this planet, there was plenty for everyone, every species, including humans. When you start subduing the planet in the wilderness is when lack starts. Lack is an illusion, okay? There is plenty. If people start reconnecting with nature and learning from indigenous people, we could go back to who we once were, and that includes Europeans too, because, well, it's so long ago, nobody remembers when. Everybody lived off the land. And when you have that intimate relationship so close with the land, you learn to respect it, and you know how to make it thrive instead of stealing from it and not giving anything back. It is because we have forgotten how to do that, and what we do is we steal from the land. Even if you plant a garden, it's still not the same. I think it's a little better, but we steal from the land, and we do it without Thanksgiving, and we never give anything back. And that's where our problems started, and we need to fix that. And I think the best to learn from are Indigenous people all over this world. They know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. And yes, it's spiritually based, but hey, that's the smartest way. Sorry, I went there. So anyways, let's see. Both stories of creation, she says, tell us who we are. She says they are inevitably shaped by them no matter how distant they may come from our consciousness. One story leads to the generous embrace of the living world, the other to banishment. Well, if you keep telling people how bad they are and how awful and they're not worthy, this is the type of society you end up with, what we have today. You have lack, etc. And the other woman, the Indigenous Native American ancestral gardener, was a co-creator of the good green world that would become the home of her descendants. The other one was exile, just passing through an alien world on a rough road to her real home in heaven. Now, you all know I believe that's true. We are temporary here. We still have to take this while we are incarnated. This is our home. Even though our true home is in the spirit realm, this is our home. It's our responsibility to take care of it in an appropriate manner. So that's what she's saying here. So the Adam and Eve story is based on that. But then she says they met, Skywoman and Eve. Now how they met was when the Europeans, the Christians, came to America, to the Americas, and they met the Indigenous people here. They were the ones who told the story of Skywoman. That was their creation story. And she says, and the land around us bears the scars of that meeting, the echoes of our stories. They say that hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and I can only imagine the conversation between Eve and Skywoman. Sister, you got the short end of the stick. And God damn it, did Eve get the short end of the stick? The beratement, the guilt, to the point this is what our society is now. Sorry everyone if you believe in that story. And it is symbolic. I mean, come on. It is symbolic, but both stories make good points. Okay? Anyways, let's see. Okay. The Skywoman story shared the original peoples throughout the Great Lakes, which is where I am from. It is a constant star in the constellation of teachings we call the original instructions. Now, these are not commandments, she says. They are instructions, more like a compass. It is not a map for you to follow. It's more of, she's saying it will be different for each individual how they follow the original instructions. And she says everybody, no matter what heritage you are, what your race is, has those original instructions in here. And it's up to us to look inside and reconnect with it. And that's what's going to heal this planet and heal society. Let's see, the original instructions with ethical prescriptions for respectful hunting, family life, ceremonies that made sense for their world. Okay, back now green, she says, is an advertising slogan, not a meadow. That's a problem. Yeah, I'm not even going to go there. Right. Anyways, when the earth welcomed the first human, it was new then. Some suspect that we have worn out our welcome by casting the original instructions aside. In a sense, I believe that's true. If we wore out our welcome, I think we would be extinct by now. But I really believe we can turn this around with the original instructions. And she's going to tell you about that through the book, and it's amazing. It's beautiful. Oh, is it beautiful? But this just makes me feel so much better. More positivity. But, let's see. She says, okay. She says the landscape has changed, but the story remains the same. The earth is much older, closer to its end, if there is an end. I don't know. But it's older, let's face it. Um, she says it's good to remember that the original woman was herself an immigrant. Skywoman fell from the sky, and this became her home. Since 1492, most here are immigrants as well. And they didn't realize Turtle Island, which is what the natives began to call the Americas, where they lived, because of the creation story. The Earth was created on the back of a turtle, so they used to call they called the Americas Turtle Island. Let's see. She came here. Skywoman came here with nothing but a handful of seeds, which are how many immigrants have come to America with nothing, and they built from there, and they built themselves a life. And she had the instructions to use your gifts and dreams for good, which is the same instructions all of us carry in here. Use your gifts and dreams for good. Let's see. The world always stands to catch us. The world's not against us. The earth, nature is not. It's to support us, sustain us, to help us thrive. She says when Skywoman arrived here, she didn't come alone. She was pregnant. She was pregnant with a baby girl. But she said, knowing her grandchildren would inherit the world, she left behind. She did not work to flourish only in her own time, but for future generations. I don't know, maybe it's easier for a woman to think this way, because my son's father doesn't think of it this way about, well, don't you care about the future? I won't be here, but what about our grandchildren? I think like that. I want to make this a better place for future generations, not just for my descendants, but for all. And that's what she's saying here. That's how Skywoman looked at the way she cared, the work she did here on this planet. And it was through her actions of reciprocity, the give and take with the land, that the original immigrant became indigenous. Becoming indigenous to a place means living as if your children's future mattered, to take care of the land as if our lives, both material and spiritual, depended on it. Let's see. She says that the Skywoman story is not an artifact from the past, but instructions for the future. And if we had retained that memory, everyone on this planet, we wouldn't be where we are today. It would be a healthy planet. Okay, we need to get back to that. She says, look at the legacy of poor Eve's exile from Eden. The land shows bruises of an abusive relationship. It's not just land that is broken, but more importantly, our relationship to the land is broken. So when you have an abusive relationship, that relationship is broken. But when you're being abused, and let's face it, you're told, oh, you're so horrible, we got to throw you out of here, and you got to work your ass off for the rest of your life by the sweat of your brow, and so will the rest of humanity for all eternity. Well, that makes everyone feel guilty and like shit, and things go awry, and you end up, well, just more abuse. The abuse just keeps getting passed down to the point, well, we abuse each other and we abuse the land, we abuse other animals. Yes, I said other animals, we abuse, well, everybody who lives on this planet, okay? And that's how that starts. Now, she says the natives' way of knowing, the native ways of knowing, she says, human people are often referred to as the younger brothers of creation. We say that humans have the least experience with how to live, and thus the most to learn. We must look to our teachers among the other species for guidance. And she means not just other animals, but plants. We think we're so smart and we're the stewards of the earth, and that we should have dominion over all. But the natives, the indigenous people, see it the other way around. We are the newest species, and we should be learning from other species. And we haven't, and look what happened. I just think the indigenous way of thinking and their spiritual stories, everything, it's just so beautiful. I'm so enthralled with it. Let's see. So anyways, She says plants know how to make food and medicine from light and water, and then they give it away. They make this and they give it away to other animals, including humans. Let's see. Skywoman scattered her handful of seeds across Turtle Island. She was sowing sustenance for the body and also for the mind, emotion, and spirit. She was leaving us teachers. The plants can tell us her story. We need to learn to listen. Now it's Green Witch, and I've always loved to garden and I love my herbs and everything. Yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, get to the end of this chapter and I was nearly in tears. But that's the end of the first chapter. I don't know if I told you the name of the first chapter. It is called Skywoman Falling. It's the first chapter. I mean, you guys, if you're watching this, you're going to want to get this book. Yeah, if you're interested in this. So anyways, the next one we're going to do, the next chapter, is the Council of Pecans. These chapters just get better and better as you go through the book. So, but I was just so enthralled with the Indigenous creation story, and I really wanted to share that one. But we are going to go through this book. She has some wonderful, beautiful points. I mean, just beautiful. I highly recommend this book. I can't recommend it enough. But anyways, I'm going to leave you with that. Blessed be, and make it a joyful one.